What's going on, guys? I'm Bruce Matson. Welcome to the show, and I got a lot to hit on today. But first off, make sure you hit subscribe, ring that bell, so you don't miss an episode. You can get those notifications, so whenever I post that next video, you're ready. You're ready to rock and roll. You get that football knowledge, and you're better off. You're a better fantasy football player because of that. Let's get things cracking. All off season. All I heard was Jonathan Taylor cannot catch. Jonathan Taylor can't catch the football. I've heard things that he has stone hands. I've heard things that he can't run routes. I've heard things that Nyheim Hines is going to have the entire workload in the passing game. He's no Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's no this, he's no that, he's no this, he's no that. And what happens week one? Jonathan Taylor catches 6 passes for 67 yards. He's on pace for 96 receptions for the year. That rebutes everybody's assessment of him. But not me. Not me, no. No. All off season, on the Perfect Cast, on the social medias, I've been telling you that once the Colts realize how explosive this guy is in open space, they're going to be checking it down to him. They're going to be checking it down to him a good bit. And Phillip Rivers loves to check it down to his running backs. You got to think, you have a 226-pound running back who runs a 4.39 40, has good elusiveness, good vision. If he gets a little space, builds up that speed, defensive backs who are just pushing around 200 pounds, maybe 205-ish, 210, doesn't even really matter either. They got to make a business decision because that's a lot of inertia coming at you. Think about those linebackers. Runs a 4.6, 4.55, even 4.5, 4.45. They're going to struggle closing that gap against them. And he's going to eat yards in chunks. And once Phillip Rivers figures that out, they're going to use him a lot in the passing game. But then people would go back and go, wait, what about San Diego when they had Melvin Gordon and Austin Eckler? And that could be Nyheim Hines, and that could be Jonathan Taylor. No. Jonathan Taylor is a lot faster. He's a way better running back prospect than what Melvin Gordon ever was, ever will be. And that's just the bottom line. Jonathan Taylor is a generational prospect. We just didn't view him that way because we've had so many good running backs come at us these last few years. Probably the best running back prospect since Saquon Barkley, and he may be even better than Saquon Barkley. Taylor had 3 straight seasons with over 2,000 yards from scrimmage. How many running backs have that? Not to mention the combine metrics. And then the only thing that you could knock him for was his receptions. Had 26 last year and not that many the years prior. However, last year he had over a 10% target share. One of the tops running backs in this draft in target share. It's just Wisconsin's a low volume passing offense. He didn't have the opportunity to prove himself, but when you look to the tape, you saw some of the passes he was catching, and he was catching some higher acuity passes. So he was able to demonstrate what he could do. Now he's in a position where they're going to check it to him a lot more, and he's going to blow up. And if you did not get into the Jonathan Taylor shares of stock this spring or in redraft when the price was still high, you're not going to be able to reap the rewards because he's going to go through the moon, through the roof, through the ceiling, over the stars, into the galaxy. It's just, he's going to be valued in astronomical proportions. He's he is already a top 5 back in Dynasty. Has to be. He's pushing the 101. Saquon, CMC. If they have off years and Jonathan Taylor just keeps improving from his week 1 performance, he could be the 101 next year. He has that potential. It'll be between him and if Clyde Edwards-Helaire produces. Those two backs are just going to be battling back and forth of who should be valued the most in fantasy football, in dynasty fantasy football throughout their careers. However, Jonathan Taylor is a generational talent. He is a league winner in fantasy football. And I think in redraft, I'm already taking him over a lot of guys. I'm taking him over Kenyon Drake, Austin Eckler, maybe even Miles Sanders. I think I'd take him over Todd Gurley easy. A lot of running backs that have been valued a lot higher of them just a week and a half, 2 weeks ago in redraft leagues off the draft board. And everyone was fading him. I wasn't really fading him that much. I was actually kind of drafting him high in redraft, but I'm a dynasty guy. I played more dynasty and W leagues than anything, so it wasn't really in that many redraft leagues. Played a lot of best ball. I invested a lot of them in best ball just because the value he has and the upside. And it looks like he's going to be hitting that upside with his usage in the passing game. And then wait until Jacksonville starts getting in this positive game scripts where they're ahead and they're rolling and everything starts to click with Phillip Rivers and they're moving the football and they're leading in games and they're starting to grind it out. You think they're going to be grinding it out with Nyheim Hines? For real? No, they're not. They're going to be grinding it out with Taylor. They're also going to be checking it down to Taylor. He's going to be catching 3 to 5 passes a game, and then he's also running it between the tackles. Who do you think is going to be getting the goal line carries? It's going to be Taylor. Hines was getting some, but they got to mix it up when they're using Hines as well too. They can't just always just swing him out on passes, so they got to give him some carries. They also got to give him some short yardage carries, or they're going to know what they're going to do. It's going to give their game plan away. So Hines is going to get some short yardage carries. It's just part of the beast. If not, you're going to show your hand every time you put Hines out on the field from a coaching perspective. However, I like that they're using both Hines and Taylor. I don't think that hurts Taylor at all. I think that helps Taylor because it's just going to open things up. He doesn't need 100% workload to be fantasy relevant or a top-end fantasy asset. He doesn't even need 20 touches. 15 and he's good. He is explosive. He's one of the most explosive running backs in the league. And I would not be surprised if he finishes the year as the RB1. I would not be surprised at all. Many people are not running around saying that because they're too scared just to go ham on him that deep. But I will, because I see the talent. I see the workload coming up. Marlon Mack's now out for the year. Achilles injury. Giving Taylor more touches, more availability to be used. And he's getting the workload in the passing game. I just don't see how he's not going to deliver unless he gets injured. Barring injury, he's going to be an RB1. Like it or not. Whether you like Jonathan Taylor or not, he's going to be an RB1 in fantasy. The only thing that's stopping him is if he gets injured or something like that happens, or if the offense falls off a cliff. But Nyheim Hines is not going to prevent him from being an RB1. Jonathan Taylor's eventually going to start chipping away at that rock. He's going to be chipping away. Week 1, we saw him catch 6 passes, get some carries, look good. Week 2 could be a little bit more. Week 3 is a little bit more. Could stall out a little bit. But eventually he's going to get to that middle. Eventually he's going to get to that diamond in the center. And he's going to blow up. And that's going to be sooner than later. That's going to be before week 6. That could be week 2, week 3, week 4. And that's just going to explode. And we're all going to be anointing him as the top running back in fantasy. Because that's what's going to happen. And that's how it should be foreseen. Jonathan Taylor is the best running back in fantasy football right now. He should be valued in the top 5 range in Dynasty around Ezekiel Elliott, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley. In that range, I would have him above Alvin Kamara. I think he's going to surpass him. I think he can get this. I think he has the potential to get the same amount of receiving workload, but have that rushing upside as well, and that grinder usage on the goal line. He is a feature back. And I just don't see him going away. I see him just getting better. This is just a blip on the radar when we look at Jonathan Taylor's career. It's just going to get better from here. He's only going to explode. This was just the lighter that just lit the firecracker. And we're just waiting for the boom to go off. And Jonathan Taylor's going to do it. We know he's going to do it. And it's going to happen soon. And I hope you were able to get in when the getting was good, even though it seemed like it was expensive back in March, April, May, June, and then this redraft season. Hope you were able to pay up for him in redraft. I hope you're smart enough in redraft to take advantage of your buddies and then trade for Jonathan Taylor. Trade Austin Eckler. Trade him away. Trade your Kenyon Drake. Trade Amari Cooper. Trade one of those wide receivers that are in that range. See if you can get him in return. Anybody who's woke, anybody that's on that, they're not going to be trading away Jonathan Taylor for shekels. However, you might be able to give him away for like a player like Amari Cooper or something if someone's not paying attention and you catch them napping. Because anybody who's not been up on Jonathan Taylor these last few months and they just see this stat line from week 1 and they see Amari Cooper, Kenyon Drake, one of those players in their inbox, and they're just not into the space that much, you might get an accept. And next thing you know, you got an RB1. You maybe have even a top running back in fantasy because there's a good chance that could happen. There's a good chance that could happen. There's a good chance he can explode. And if you do not get on the Jonathan Taylor train now, then it may be too late. If you don't get into it now in Dynasty, I think the ship sailed. I think he's going to be too expensive to buy. Eventually, he can only be got for God Father offers. But yeah, redraft is probably the only way you can buy him right now. Dynasty, he's expensive. You're going to have to pay 101, 102, 103 startup draft prices, and you're not going to be able to because it's going to take half your Dynasty team to buy him. That's how much it's going to take. Or you're going to have to trade Christian McCaffrey. You're going to have to trade Saquon Barkley. You're going to have to trade a premium asset to move it. A 1-for-1 deal, and you're taking a risk there because those are known commodities. There's still some unknown with Jonathan Taylor, but if you think like me, you're woke like me, if you're a prodigy like me, you're already on that Jonathan Taylor train, and you're just sitting back there comfortable. You got your newspaper in hand, and you're ready to roll because that's what's going to happen. You're going to roll with Jonathan Taylor. You're going to win a lot of fantasy leagues, and you're going to crush Dynasty all the way to the bank. Thank you guys for listening to the show. Again, make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you ring that bell so you don't miss another episode. Hit me up on Twitter at Metric Scout. Follow me. Ask me questions. Show me some love. And I'll catch you next time when I drop the next video.